Welcome everybody, welcome to this week's episode. A very special interview today. This week I am interviewing the founder of Pestana's HR and coaching. Now she started in HR in 2011 and was enjoying her role so much that she retrained to pursue a HR practitioner career. She specializes in coaching and she's now helping people to make the most out of their careers, helping them to follow their passion without fear or limitation. Her motto is to do what you love and love what you are doing. So everybody, please welcome Lucia Pestana. Lucia, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming on. So, I can ask some questions about yourself. Just to give you some background as well. I know we've spoken recently as well. And the reason I wanted to interview you is because I help people to leave a job, to start a business. But what you're doing is really to help people change a career. And I think that's really important because often people don't want to leave a job and start a business. Actually, they want to still be in a career. They want to still be doing that. But sometimes it's just about finding what they love doing. So tell me a little bit more, just so for the people listening, tell me a little bit more about what it is that you do exactly.
Okay, so basically what I do, I help people through my knowledge of recruitment, selection, and working in HR for the last 9 years. It made me learn, all the process that you go through interviewing and, selection. But also, a lot of people, they forget the personal element to it, your personal element, who you are and what is it that you actually want from your career. So I work with the person, to make them come out of their shell and present themselves as they are with everything that they represent to their potential employer. So basically they will be, they go for a job with certainty. They're not just doing this, to get like 100 applications on the go. They're really going for what they really want without having the fear that maybe they're not good enough. So basically one of the things I do, I work on the limiting beliefs as well to make sure that they are comfortable who they are and how they can represent themselves to the future employers.
Awesome. And you said limiting beliefs there. Are there some common limiting beliefs that you see coming up all the time?
Yes. The biggest one is I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. And people forget that, sometimes people forget that they went through, there is so many transferable skills that they can transfer from one job to the other. Things like leadership, communication, but people forget because their confidence is shaken because they think I'm really good at this profession, but not for the other one. But they already have that confidence. They already are that person, But yeah, those are the biggest ones.
Okay, so and that's a big one. That lack of self-worth. The I'm not good enough. Why do you think that comes about? Why do you think that shows up in people's lives? It's a common one that I hear as well. I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. Why do you think that comes about? People can get a job. They've proven it. They're in a job. So why do you think it comes up for them?
I believe that the lack of self-worth and confidence comes from very young age. Your ego is formed between the age of 0 to 6, and that's where when you create your ego, you create it through the eyes of the people that you are living with, your families, and you adopt these limiting beliefs so early on in your life. When you see a child, they are very happy, they're smiling. Nothing is a problem. If you say them no, they turn their back and they are laughing, So what we stop learning, what we stop doing that we no longer do as children is like we take too much care and we think too much into things, we start playing, different scenarios in our heads, and most of the time they're not true. They're actually not true at all the time, because the thing is what we believe, is what we adopting as a belief. And so the thing is like, once we are conscious about having those limitations, only working through them is what going to set you, bring you to the other side, where you start acknowledging your confidence, acknowledging who you are, and be able to express that confidence.
Awesome. Yeah, that's brilliant. You spoke about ego there. What is ego exactly?
Ego is, to me, I mean, my own definition of ego is like a persona that you create to protect yourself. It's like, you create that to justify anything that, goes on in your life. And obviously ego, if it comes up all the time and is there like a protection, but also it's, it's sabotaging you at the same time, because, ego is, is a persona that you create to protect you. And those beliefs, they were created at such young age that they're no longer applicable, Yeah.
No, I get that. They're completely outdated. And that's the thing. We carry all these past experiences, whatever they may be traumatic. They may just be the little things, but something that's emotionally charged us. And we carry all these through with us, like a big bag of rubbish, and we bring them into the present. So I really like what you're saying there. How through your coaching, when you're working with people, how do you eliminate the ego? How do you take the ego out of it? How do you change the beliefs?
Okay, I go through different techniques in changing the beliefs. One of the techniques that I really enjoy working with is tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique. So I do use that a lot, but I also do a lot of going back in time and pinpointing where did it all start, where did it all, when was the first time that you felt that you were not comfortable, and do sort of a regression where you go and you see yourself at a young age in that particular scenario, and obviously work with the emotions, the feelings, and obviously end it up with showing gratitude, compassion for your younger self. I believe that really helps a lot, is very transformational. My clients, when they go through EFT, because I've been the first person, I've been to many of my clients, been the first person to introduce them to EFT, and they really once they experience and they see it working, they work it out from themselves, and they're so relieved. They're like, wow, I can do this, it helps, and to see that transformation in them is just so rewarding. It's really incredible.
Amazing. So that really rewards you, really fulfills you, and as a coach, that is important. What transformations do you see in them, in your clients? What can they then going through that work, doing the tapping technique, going back to when they were a young age? What transformations do you then see in them?
It's a completely 360 transformation, because they start showing up at such a different way. They show up for themselves, and also they become a lot more compassionate with themselves, because they start acknowledging and understanding who they are and who they represent, and so their acceptance of themselves just goes to a completely different level, and that's translated to everything else they do in life. It's translated to their work, to their relationships, and to everything, because the way they're showing up is in a completely different light, and they are no longer self-critical about themselves, and then they start having a lot more success, a lot more results in the work they're doing, and they generally happier.
Amazing. And as I read out at the beginning, something I really liked and really stood out to me is your motto. So your motto, again, to do what you love and love what you are doing. How did that come about? How did you stick to that as your motto?
Well, it's been like an interesting journey for me. In there is so many quotes that you can adopt, and there is so many things that actually resonate with me. But this one in particular, I've always been passionate about setting up my own business while working in HR, and then I've created a program that was called Get the Job You Love. So one of the things that I always taught people is that even if you don't have the job you love yet, make sure that you love what you're doing, because you don't want, it is hard as it is not having what you want as yet, but doing something that really drains you and, that you actually hate is worse than and it actually sabotages your own plan to be doing what you love, because you get dragged into the negativity. So loving what you're doing in the meantime is essential for you to create your own success in your career.
That's really powerful, and that resonates with me, because that was something I think when we spoke the other day we spoke about it, but that was something that I massively overlooked, because actually I was in this job that, I didn't enjoy. It no longer connected with me, no longer resonated with me. And it was a real struggle. And I got to the point where I quit my job. I didn't have the financial security to do so, which brought its own pressure, but I just had to get out of that job. However, what I missed was actually what I could have done was go and do something, go get a job in something that I actually enjoyed, something that I loved doing, and build my success up from there. So that was definitely, that's why that really resonated with me, because that was something I overlooked, and I think that could have really accelerated me further. And that's something that I share with people now. Why don't you get a job first before starting a business? Why don't you perhaps move over into something that you do enjoy as a stepping stone? So sorry, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, one of the things that I say a lot in my job as well is I call it reinventing myself. Sometimes when you are in a job, and you know all the things that's going on, what you need to do, what you not need to do, and we get stuck, and we do get stuck quite often. So what I call it reinventing myself. So sometimes we need to be in the job, even though we're not longer passionate, we need to address it and see what else can we do to make it more enjoyable. And just remember that you're doing that in the meantime, and it's not your future, but how you can make that meantime a bit more enjoyable. And sometimes it is, by adding new responsibilities, maybe it's creating, internal projects within your role that will give you that satisfaction to carry on doing it. This is something that I really find that is useful in when you are in a job and you're not enjoying it so much. Just reinvent yourself.
And that's important for people to take that responsibility, to take charge, to take ownership of it.
Yeah, it's essential.
So what impact do you see, if somebody, I know the personal impact that it had on me, but what impact do you see as somebody in a job, in work, doing something that they don't love, something that they don't enjoy, they're not passionate about, and they're struggling through it? What impact does that have on the rest of their life?
Well, the impact is massive, because they will always be miserable, mourning, always complaining about, and that definitely doesn't, that are very disempowering mindsets, So definitely, and also when you are in the job, you start building bad relationships with your managers, your colleagues, and everything. So it's a big knock-on effect of negativity, So for me personally, I feel that when people, in a job that they don't like, they need to address it. The sooner the better, because if they don't, then they are shooting themselves in the foot. No amount of complaining is going to resolve the situation. And bitching about their bosses will not do that either. So it's about taking ownership and making sure that they actually address it, but address it from a place of understanding and knowing without being so resentful towards it.
Brilliant. So if let's say somebody watching this, they'll resonate with this, they're stuck in a job right now, they're not enjoying it, they're hating it. What is the exact step-by-step things that they need to be doing to then shift it and get into a career that they do love?
Okay, first, I would say the first step would be understand what is the career that you want. Having full understanding of what is your next career move is what will help you to start defining a path into getting there. I'm actually doing something on Facebook where I'm doing the 10 tips to advance your career. So the process is very simple. First you address what you want from your next career. Make sure that you tell it to your friends, your family, to make yourself accountable. Third step, learn what is it that you need to have. Like, for example, is it a transferable skill? Is it a course that you need to take? Is it a qualification? Just learn as much as you can about your next job. Then make sure that where you are at the moment, make sure that you treat it with respect, because, as you do one thing, you do everything. And also, if you do your job correctly and you are in a good spirits, going to your next job, you will carry that same energy. The other thing as well is, last impressions last, so if you behave badly in your job, getting a reference for the future is not going to work, is it? The other steps is making sure that you network with people that are already doing the job that you want, making sure that you leverage those connections by hopefully getting introductions, attending webinars, similar conferences where you are surrounded with like-minded people. Then you should take it to the drawing board where you're going to create your plan. Make sure that your plan includes all the steps that you need to take, all the training that you need to go through, all the people that you need to connect with. And that on its own, when you create that plan, it will give you so much satisfaction, understanding the steps that you need to take. They're already there for you. Then you start taking action. And when you start taking action, everything else is going to seem less important. Everything else, what's going on in your day-to-day job, it's not important. You're not going to drag it into your sleep. You're not going to start thinking about that all the time. It will play less importance in your mind. And then finally start negotiating, a promotion, or start negotiating that next step. What is the salary that you want to have? What is the role that you want to actually be doing? Negotiate your autonomy as well. That's all very important things that you need to do. And I think the thing is, the best way to do it is just start with this first simple step to make sure that what is the career that you want.
Yeah, just start. That's big. Because even when I talk to people, starting a business is scary for people. You go, what? I have to quit my job and start a business? Whoa, that's too much. But actually, if you've just broken it down into a very simple step-by-step process. And instead of worrying about negotiating the promotion or the next step, actually just start with the first step and just really think about what you said. Think about what it is that you actually want in your next career move. What do you want out of it? Where are you trying to get to? So for people listening, I think it's important just to go with the first step. Don't worry about the long, don't worry about what is in the distance. Just go with the first step.
I think also as well, it can be overwhelming for people when you think you have to start, and people get overwhelmed. Where do I start? And and I think that people should just take it with it a bit more lightly. You don't have to know everything for you to start the process. Just start taking little steps into your day-to-day, where it can, in the long run, you will see that, taking each step has definitely, taking you closer to your career goal.
Big, awesome. So right now in the UK, we're coming out of lockdown. We've had COVID-19. We're easing up, but this has had a big impact on the economy, on jobs, small, medium businesses. For people in jobs, what is happening right now?
I think what happens at the moment is that with a lot of people, a lot of people have been furloughed. A lot of people will be coming out of furlough, I think by beginning of July. So a lot of people are enjoying what they're doing, staying at home or not doing anything. A lot of people are actually taking the opportunity to learn new skills, retrain, and think about what else is out there, with in terms of their options. Unfortunately, what I see that will happen is that with the governments, stopping supporting the furlough payment fully, I think what will happen is that a lot of people will be out of a job by July. So what I see is that you still have 1 month. Make sure that you are updating your skills. Make sure that you are intentional with what is it that you want from your career. Be intentional with what is it that you want from your next move, but also be mindful not to drag yourself into the negativity and common consciousness that there will be no jobs, or I think the right opportunity for the right people will always be there, and it's about just be intentional and be confident that the right opportunity will be there for you.
Brilliant. And I'm really happy that you raised that, actually, because it was something that I wanted to come on to, because my belief as well is, and I can't see into the future. I don't know what's going to happen, but I really see that people are on furlough right now. And I think when things start getting moving again, offices open up, there will be phone calls saying, hey, look, sorry, we don't need you back. And I think that's going to be really hard for people. I think there is a lot of unemployment on the horizon. But what you said about getting focused, getting started, start educating yourself, start learning, start upskilling yourself, that is going to be important. Because if I'm a business owner, and I am a business owner, I work by myself, but if I'm employing people, I want people who have been working hard on themselves. I'm going to be inviting the people back that have been working hard on themselves, upskilling themselves, because they're going to be the most valuable to my business.
Absolutely. And also I think that as well, there has been, from my own personal experience, I've seen a lot of people that have taken this time, it's kind of like, the COVID has been like here to, show you how to stop, really, and how to start again, So a lot of people would have taken this opportunity to actually reset and really address what is important for them and what is not, whereas other people just enjoyed the good weather and not doing anything. But I think it's important that the people that actually did think about it, I think when they will come back to the workplace, they will be different people. I don't think there will be so many moaners about the day-to-day of the job. I think people will be grateful that they have a job to go back to.
Yeah, I agree with that, because it's suddenly it's just been such a massive realization how things can change overnight. And it really, going into lockdown, really did happen overnight. It just came upon everybody so quickly. How do people work on their mindset? Let's say I've been working, I've been doing my 9 to 5, I've been surrounded with people in the office. What happens? I'm suddenly now at home, I'm in lockdown, I'm on my own, I may have family or whatever. How do I work on my mindset? How do I get myself motivated every day to keep going, even though my circumstances have just been flipped on their head?
Sometimes you need to, slow down so that you can move forward. The thing is, what I do for myself, I do a lot of meditation. I also do tapping on myself. Those things really help you to bring you to center, to yourself. But also, like, the most important thing, just breathe, Once you breathe, if you breathe, or if you take yoga, some yoga lessons and things like that, and you learn how to breathe, that just gives you straight away a completely different perspective.
Yeah, and I've spoken a lot to people about this recently. It's about getting present, and taking that time just to slow down, just calm yourself down. Because if you're in panic mode, if you're stressing out, you're not going to be able to think straight. You're not going to be able to come up with logical solutions.
No, your mind is completely racing. Throughout my experience, I had a lot of people, asking me, how do I quiet my mind, and it just starts with the simple thing, just breathe, just relax, and through practice, you get better and better at it. And hopefully, at some point you will just, realize that you're not thinking as much, or your thoughts are not troubling you as much, because you can just, breathe and be centered in the present.
Brilliant. So Lucia, what is your vision for the future? What is it that you want to achieve and have accomplished?
For me, my vision for the future is obviously to, create a successful practice where I help people to create their own career success. For me, it's also about, sharing my experience and sharing my knowledge of everything that I've learned throughout the years. I find it is very empowering to be able to share that with people, and then have them apply it to their lives and see the changes that they have achieved. I think that is very powerful. Ultimately, I want people to be doing a job that they love, and not just, and stop complaining about things. Because imagine if 10 people that actually have a positive attitude to life, and then you have, that 10 people tell to 10 people, that then so on and so forth, you will be surrounded with people that have much positive outlook in life, and that will make your life a lot better as well, in return. So I think it's a symbiotic circle, so it keeps on going.
That's big. And if you're changing somebody's life, if you're making their career better, and they're doing what they love, they're in a job, they're in a career that they get so much fulfillment out of. It's like you say, it's the impact that it then has on everybody else in their life. They're being positive. They go home and they're having a great time with their family, because they don't feel so miserable. They don't feel so negative. They're not moaning all the time now. Going to work is a pleasure, is an enjoyment for them, and they take that enjoyment home with them. So not only that, you're having impact on families, you're having impact on friends as well.
Yeah. And as well on employers, just imagine from an employer perspective, once you have an employee that is engaged, that is enjoying what they're doing, and that is committed to the work, but still having their own work-life balance, that employee is your goal, because that employee can influence all the other employees, and your business is just winning. Is really essential to have those key people in any organization. You should always strive to have people that actually want to be in the employment that they have, because they promote your business like no one else.
Mm. So what you're saying is that the management structure, the leaders in the business have to be engaged. They have to be advocates for the business and its promotion, and also moving it forward. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was more like saying from an employee perspective. So when you have an engaged employee, that employee naturally promotes your business. It's not like you have to remind them to do that. It's not like you have to enforce it in a way. It's a natural progression. So employees, once they are engaged, they are promoting your business is such an organic growth, that you don't need to be on their back or reminding them. But having those kind of employees in your business, it means that you don't have to worry too much about them saying the right thing about the business. You know that they will be leading by example to all the other employees. You know that they will be looking after your business as if it was their own. So, these employees, engaged employees that are happy with what they're doing, they are the success of any business.
That's important, because you got a happy employee. They're on the phone to customers. They're meeting with customers. They're in a good mood. They're uplifting. They're equally positive and willing to go above and beyond for their customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned you've done a lot of education on yourself, which is important. Why is that self-education important?
That's an interesting question, actually. I think the thing is like from a very early age, I thought like I know what I'm going to do with my life. That started with radio broadcasting. When I was back home, I was doing like a radio program, and I thought, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I came to London, and I was studying. I did media studies, because I wanted to pursue the broadcasting, and then I ended up with the graphic design as well, qualification. And then I thought, like, I found my I found my career, and and then what I didn't realize then, it keeps on evolving. So after the graphic design, when the credit crunch hit, so I didn't work in graphic design, so I was working as a waitress. So after working as a waitress for a while, I then was introduced to HR. And when I was introduced to HR, I was like, oh, this is it. This is it again. What I've learned since then is that your career is always evolving, and there will always be different things that you're going to do, and it will always grow. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty. Before, a long time ago, people will start a job and they will do their job from day one to till the day they retire. These days, it's like it's so much easy for a person to change their career and enjoy it equally and absolutely love what they do. And I think it's part of human evolution as well, to be able to do different things and to enjoy everything for what it is.
And that's when you were talking about finding you found that purpose, you found that you got into HR, and you were like, yes, this is it, I love it. And that brought back memories for me, because I was in construction. I loved it. But actually what happened is, I went away traveling, and I came back and I realized this is not what I want to do at all. And then I started to go and do that self-education. I started going and look at new things. And I remember this, I was at this event, it was about speaking, it was about training and coaching. And it just hit me. And it was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing in life. This is why I'm here. And I think when you can find that, it's such a big moment. But as you say as well, it is so easy to go out there, to try new things, to discover more about yourself, to learn new skills. It's never been more easy to change a career, to change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I think we're always learning. You know, I have a lot of clients that they had a career throughout their life, and all of a sudden they realized that that was not what they wanted to do for the rest of their life. They still wanted to be able to do something that they purely enjoy, and still make it a successful, you know, career. And they completely transitioned, and that's such incredible way to look at things, is that you can still do the things that you want. You know, there will never be too late. It will never be too late to do that.
Never be too late. Never be too late. Brilliant. Through your life, the education you've done, the journey you've been on, what's the best learning or advice that you've taken so far that you would like to share with people watching this?
That's a very good question. I mean, there has been so many moments. I think that one of the biggest learnings that I think is important to understand is understand your faults, understand your flaws, because everything that you will ever do in life, once you understand, you know, any flaws that you have, you can always improve on them. You know, you can always, you know, learn new skills. You can always, you know, you can completely even rewire your mindset, you know, your beliefs into things. So I think always understand, you know, your flaws, so that you can always improve and become a better version of yourself.
And were there any specific examples where, you know, you discovered something about yourself and you're like, well, no, I've got to change this, I've got to turn this around, and then got to work on it and made a success of that?
Yeah, I mean, there is this really interesting story, you know, how I became a HR manager. So, you know, in 2011, I was introduced to HR, and when I was introduced to HR, I had my first appraisal, and my boss was like, you know, he told me, he asked me, you know, where would you like to be in 5 years? And I said to him, in 5 years, I would like to be a HR manager. And then he tried to talk me out of it. He was like, but don't you think that, you know, you're aiming a bit too high, or that, you know, it's going to be, you know, difficult for you to achieve that? And, you know, and he completely tried to talk me out of it. And, you know, I didn't take no for an answer, and I actually achieved it in 3.5. So I did show him that, you know, I was determined to have what I wanted. Determination is a big key. And also, you know, if anyone says to you, you can't, just make sure that you prove them wrong. It is important. It's very, very important to do that.
That's so big. There are a couple of things there, because this is what happens. We have a goal, we have a dream, and we go to somebody, maybe seeking help, maybe seeking some advice. We tell them the goal, we tell them the dream, and they shut it down. And you might be aiming a bit too high. Are you really ready for that? And all this rubbish. And it knocks so many people back from what they actually want to do in life. So that's massive. But the really powerful thing that you did was you weren't going to take no for an answer. And this is the moment that a lot of people are lost, because they just then believe that, oh, maybe I am aiming too high. But you didn't take no for an answer, and you showed in 3.5 years that you can do it. That's powerful. That's really big.
I think once you have determination, you can do anything that you want. Anything. I mean, everything is possible. So it's the thing is as well. Be careful who you surround yourself with. You know, if you surround yourself with people, you know, let's say not just one person, but you surround yourself with 20 people that will have the same attitude towards what you're saying, you need to reconsider that 20 people in your circle, because it's good to have people that will, you know, challenge you, or like that will question, you know, what you want and why do you want it. But you don't want like a lot of people, you know, bringing you down for it, you know. So it's, you know, look at your circle of people. It's very important.
And I love, that's one of my favorite quotes, is by a guy called Jim Rohn. Said you're the average of the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. That's always stuck with me, because when I look back at certain situations, if I wasn't doing things right, I wasn't living in line with my values, all I had to do was look at my friends and who I was hanging around with, and it showed up. They were doing the same. So how do this is the big question. How do people go about changing their circle of friends? How do they go about surrounding themselves with more positivity, more people who are uplifting, going to support and motivate them?
Okay. That's a big question, but for me, I think is something I talk all the time. You know, once you start working on yourself, you know, when you start developing yourself as a person, you know, once you become more conscious of who you are and what is your mission in the world, people just drop off. You know, people that are not aligned with your values, people that are not aligned with your mission, people not aligned with your vision, these people, they just drop off the bus, you know. And people that are aligned, you know, with what you represent, they definitely come forward to your circle. And it's such a natural process that you don't even have to think about it. You can't change anyone else in the world. You can only change yourself. So once you start working on yourself, developing yourself, you know, who is meant to be there will be, and who is not, you know, they will just fall off.
What a quote as well. What did you say? You can't change anyone else. You can only change yourself. And that's it. People, the personal responsibilities on themselves to grow, to change themselves, to develop themselves. And what you're saying is, by doing that, they'll be inviting the right people into their life and losing the people who don't align with that. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. So let me ask a question then. Before we finish up, I like to ask a couple of questions. The first one is, who do you know that the people watching this may not know, but you feel that they absolutely must know?
Sorry, can you?
Who is somebody that you know that the viewers watching this, they won't know, but they need to know?
Oh, like introducing a person that I know that needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one person I would recommend that people actually have a look at is one of my personal friends. We've been on a similar journey for the last 6-7 years. We've been friends for like 10 years or so. Her name is Deborah Lucy. So she is a writer, a speaker, and she has a very beautiful story. So she created, she's very passionate about speaking and sharing her vision. She wanted to speak at the stage and you know, share her voice with people, and a lot of people told her no. They told her, you know, you don't have a big following on your social media, you can't do this and you can't do that. And you know, what happened is she decided, and she put on her own conference. And it was actually super, super interesting because I actually got to speak at her conference. And, being in self-development for so many years, it just made me realize that her conference is actually much better than a lot of the conferences I have been, all my life. And it was such an interesting and unique experience. And she's such a great example of, when people tell you no, you just go and do it. That's it.
Just as you did.
Yeah, exactly. Just as I did. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And what's a question that I could have asked that I perhaps didn't, or a question that you would like to answer?
Oh my God, that is a difficult one. Well, to be honest with you, I can't think about anything. I think you ask so many questions, and they were all very, very useful.
So what's some advice, another way of looking at that, what is some advice that perhaps we haven't covered or you haven't covered before that you think people just need to hear?
Advice. Okay. You put me on the spot. I think the one thing I could say is that, for anyone, watching this and, taking on the learning for this is, sometimes, it is important to, there is a lot of things in life that you can do on your own, and you will always be doing things on your own. However, it's always good when you have someone that can give you some guidance, and help you, define. You need to get the right person, of course, but, don't knock off on people that trying to help you. You see a lot of coaches, you see a lot of, training people, don't be afraid of getting someone professional to actually help you to achieve your goals, because, they are professional for one reason. And it's really it really can give you that, it can propel you to get your goal in a much quicker time frame, because you have that guidance behind you. So maybe that's the one advice I would give, for people not to knock off professionals.
Amazing, thank you. I shared that with somebody yesterday, just saying, if you want to get somewhere, you can do it on your own, but it might take a long time. You'll hit the wall a few times, go through a few failures. But as you say, you bring a professional on board, you can just speed up the whole process.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So for people wanting your help, people wanting fast track and changing their careers, where do they go to find you? You spoke earlier about a program that you've got. It'd be great if they can share that for us now, so people can find you, get involved with you.
Yeah. So at the moment, I have a one-to-one program going on. It's called Let's Act on Career. So basically, it's a 6 sessions coaching and mentoring, where you go through the process of understanding what is it that you want from your career, and then obviously taking you through the steps of applying for the role. Looking at your LinkedIn profile, how you show yourself up in the world, and that's something I have on. People can follow me. I'm mostly on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram as well. So Pestana's HR and Coaching on Facebook, and in LinkedIn I am with Lucia Pestana. It's my profile. So yeah, people can follow me on this. I'm actually doing something quite exciting where I'm interviewing 8 people throughout the month of June on my Facebook, where I showcase, I'm I'm interviewing incredible people that are actually, in a career that they absolutely love, and they're quite successful at it as well. And basically, I'm showcasing what is possible for people to have as well. I'm always doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. So if anyone wants to join, that will be pretty amazing.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you very much, Lucia. What we'll do is all the information where people can find you, we'll put that in the show notes, and then people can reach you easily. But yeah, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time today. It's really insightful. I think that's important for people to hear about. It is possible to change a career. It is possible to do something else. So yeah, thank you very much for your time today. It's been awesome speaking to you.
Thank you. Likewise. You're great at interviewing, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Awesome, Lucia. Speak to you soon. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.